All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Al-Kiblan TV. Today we are at the MK Mixed Farm, where we are actually right at the farm. You can see we have the Guatemala, the Guatemala plants. Very many people may not know the originator, but this actually comes from the most parts of South America.
Al-Kiblan TV, Africa to the world.
Today, Al-Kiblan TV has actually visited the farm. We are located in Gomba. That is the farm where we are located. Today, we want to actually understand the Guatemala plants. Now, these are plants, when you come to Uganda, here in our East African setting, we actually find out that there are different types of feeds that farmers are using for the animals, and this is actually giving them some hard time. Many of us may have not heard of Guatemala, but Guatemala right now, as you can see behind me, this is the Guatemala tree. The Guatemala tree is actually planted at the beginning of the rainy season, where the stems are cut and then put into the soil. Now, when we look at the perspective of Guatemala tree, as soon as we entered inside this area, the environment changed. There was a certain breeze. That we are now in a season which is actually hot, but as we stand right now, the breeze as well calmed us. So that means the Guatemala plants also come with environmental importances, such as controlling of soil erosion, then also at the same time to contribute to our weather. The owner of the farm, who shall come into the show later on, actually told us that in the different parts of Gomba here, when we come to realize, we actually know that some parts it does not rain, but when it comes to the parts that are having the Guatemala plants, actually it rains. So that means there are advantages to it. Now, why should we actually venture into Guatemala? Guatemala is a plant that this farm that you see right behind me here, they started with 3 plants of Guatemala, but in around 3 years they are covering 51 hectares of Guatemala. And the advantage of Guatemala is that the moment you plant and then it matures, actually at around 3 months after its planting, you come to find out that it is mature. It can actually feed around 3 cows, or should I say 6 animals. As you can see, the animals that are grazing, these are animals that are benefiting from the Guatemala plant. The Guatemala plant, after harvest, there is no more need to plant it again because it grows. It's a once in a lifetime venture that you actually have to dive into as a farmer. Guatemala plant is actually a solution to very many farmers out there who are having challenges with which feeds to give, or the rate of growth, and how hard it is to actually maintain the certain growth of certain plants. Guatemala is a solution. As we can see, Guatemala can be harvested. What you're seeing right now is actually a 2-week plant which has just started to sprout out after the previous ones have been harvested. As the farmers, this is a solution for Ugandan farmers to actually venture more into Guatemala, because it is a solution for our animals. They are first of all nutritious, and then if they are easy to grow, they can also grow in a dry season with proper management. Guatemala is the way to go, and it's a solution to our farmers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we said that we are at MK Mixed Farm, which is located in Gomba, and earlier on, as I had stated, now we are standing actually right in between the Guatemala and this is Sugar Napier. Yeah. And now, why would I speak much when the big boss is here? So tell us, what is the biggest comparison? We have actually seen that when we entered right through the Guatemala, there was a bit of environmental friendliness, and the fruits, the plants were actually looking green. We actually we went and toured, we saw that after harvesting, after 2 weeks, others sprouted. So what is this advantage that can be given to the Africans at large, East Africa and Uganda?
Thank you, Mr. Yarama. And dear viewers around the world and Africa at large, Uganda mostly, my name's Engineer Moses Kazibwe. MK comes from Moses Kazibwe. So most people might interpret it the other way, but it's Moses Kazibwe. So in fact, you haven't seen the goats and the sheep. We started with 200 goats in this farm. Within a short time, 1 year later, we had 800 goats. So we realized that there is need for us to have animal feed because we have love for what we are doing. So what I did is that I realized that even if you have a square mile with 800 goats, it's not enough because they moved and finished the whole grass within a short time. So I scaled it down and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Then as I was growing, a cousin brother of mine had like 4 animals, Frisian cows, with a small piece of Guatemala plantation in Tambala there, late Tamale. And that's where I copied the Guatemala, the one you have just seen in your first episode. Now, why we have also the sugar napier here is that we want to do a comparison that when we tell people that the Guatemala plant, one plant can feed up 6 animals. As you can see here, this one cannot even fill up a stomach this goat. So we looked at getting what can sustain, what can satisfy a huge number of animals in case we are to do fattening or milk production. So as you can see here, this napier, it has been being preached, and then the Guatemala was here before the 86 war. It was here before the 86 war. So when the war came in, because people lost many things that you can know, so the thing disappeared. How I got back this one, I got only 3 pieces of Guatemala. Like now, as you've seen, that we are now 51 acres as of today. And you will continue showing our people how Guatemala versus the sugar napier. Because this one cannot feed a goat, but the other one can feed 6 grown cows.
6 grown cows?
Yes, as you will see.
That is just
later.
from one shoot?
One shoot, yes. And this one shoot cannot feed a what? A goat. So this is the advantage of, actually it's the reason why I brought you to sugar napier versus what? Guatemala.
If I'm to just ask you briefly for the viewers who are watching us, how best can they contact you? Because this is a very big venture for farmers.
Yeah, in fact, this drought season we are in today, like this is a month of July. Normally in Uganda, between June, July, August, September, we are in dry seasons. And I know, as of now, our farmers there in the villages of cattle corridor and cattle keepers and animal keepers, they are right now suffering of what to feed with their animals. I would emphasize them not to look at only sugar napier because it gives small yield, small food.
You invest a lot, but the yielding is
smaller. So I would encourage them to also join us. We now have the capacity to supply the whole of Uganda with our cuttings of Guatemala from the 51 acres. As you will see later, I'm going to show you another episode where you'll see a grown Guatemala and how many seeds we can get from one plant. And we do an interview from also the grown plant.
All right, thank you very much, viewers. If you're watching us, Guatemala and then the napier, which choices do you take? Blessing on my the greener part.
But also, Isaac, let this not stop in only Uganda. You, the youth, Africa should be the food basket for the whole world. When you visit UK, you will find in the cold season, they cover their animals with tarpaulins for them to survive, which is not our case here.
Yeah.
So let's plant as more feed as possible so that we are able to supply this meat and our youth are employed as African country. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
We are going to continue
Okay.
on the journey
Thank
to
you.
venture,
Yes.
to venture and see more further.
Thank you.
Catch us in the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you. this is the fourth generation on this one plant, Isaac. We have cut 4 times on this one plant. This is now a fourth generation.
The fourth generation.
Yes.
And you didn't need to plant further.
No,
you
don't.
To cut.
Yeah, you cut. It
starts
grows,
to grow.
Yeah, it starts to come back. This is the fourth generation on one plant. So we have gotten now over 1,000 seeds for Guatemala from one plant like this. Yes. Give me a panga. So Isaac, this is how we make seeds for Guatemala. Okay? Do one. Just picking one plant for your interview purposes. This is now we count the eyes. Yeah? 1, 2. We call this eyes. 1, 2. I cut here. That's a seed. 1, 2. I cut here. That's a seed. 1, 2. I cut here. Seed. 1, 2. A seed. 1, 2. 1, 2. And this one is also a seed. Because now it's a bit hard. Then we stop there. This one we put in the silage making machine. And next silage, as you will see later. Now, next episode. Okay. Who can pick these seeds?
So these are what we are calling seeds.
Yes. For Guatemala.
For Guatemala.
Yeah. I will even show you how to plant. We don't plant like this, upside down. We plant like this. The way you are holding it is bad. Yeah, like that. This thing has to. Why we are cutting like this? It shows the other person who is planting that this is where it goes. And most of our people who plant, they now have idea of how to plant it. Instead of planting like this, we plant like this, bending a bit. Bend it a bit, yeah. Because if it's straight, it will not germinate. But if it's like this, then the roots will start. Why we have this all over the farm is that when we are making our silage, we need molasses. Molasses. All farmers knows what it does when you are producing silage. So for us, we shall not buy molasses from other farmers. As you can see, we harvest this, grind it, have the water, and mix it in the silage as molasses. So all solutions are found at Eng.Kazibwe. Have you made any loss of visiting our farm?
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no loss made, but I would like to call it that hitting very many birds with one stone.
Yes.
Because when we viewed the different 2 types of crops, the plants that are used for the feeds of the animals, we actually saw that it's better to plan a future ahead, knowing that we are producing this and there's enough quantity to feed what we are producing. So ladies and gentlemen, as the camera view can actually show to us, the environmental background that we are having, it's a peaceful environment that we are having right here, and we can all feel the fresh air. So the plant does not only contribute to the animal feeds, but also the same thing to do with our environment. That is contributing. So that means that when you plant Guatemala, at the same time, you don't have to worry much about rain. It's a contributor to the rain system.
Yes. So thank you, Isaac. Let's move forward. I want to show you this plant because a viewer, when he's seeing this is the young one after we harvested last season. This is now 3 months old. You come and see one grown plant. Give an example of what our thing is. This one we harvested also first time. This is now a second baby of Guatemala, as well as this. But what I've told you, that one plant can see that each annual. You doubt in what I've told you? This plant can teach even 10 animals.
This one. So the Ugandans and Africans, if you are seeing this, it's not a lie. We have been on different parts of the land, and so far I have just received that this is 4 months old.
Yes.
It has just been planted 4 months ago. And with the rainy season that we have, that means the more it keeps raining, the next time we may come back here, it's ready for harvest.
Yeah, thank you for coming, Mr. The Great.
The Great Lama.
The Great Lama. You want to be like this man of Potpoto who calls himself the grandfather. I'll not say the name. So, but this is actually what we are doing, and I don't want to be alone. I want fellow Ugandans and other African farmers, mostly the animal keepers, to join this race. By the way, there is something that I'll show you later. Even if you are into coffee growing or banana plantation, if you have this Guatemala plant, can also do the marathon, can also be a fertilizer. If you grind it with a machine, cover it somewhere, when it has rotten, drop it in the coffee plantation or banana plantation. It will work as a fertilizer. Do you get that?
I get it, sir.
So let us not look at this as you know what I hate with our people, the black people, why we are not prospering. When you see somebody with a good thing, for example, if you see a good girl from the Western Uganda with a good nose, and then you start saying, you know, her nose is like from Uganda, you know, as if your eyes are not seeing. So we keep telling them this Guatemala is going to change the agriculture sector. Even the scientist who sits where government is paying them money, nobody has reached here. For you, you are lucky you have reached here for free. You have not paid me anything. But you check the Guatemala plant we are talking about compared to the sugar napier. You have seen the stories. We started with only 3 plants. Today, you rotate the camera. This is just nothing to what you have seen. We have 51 acres, and we are still planting and planting and planting. We want to have 150 acres so that we are able to keep maybe 1 million animals in a small piece of land. And it will happen by next year. Watch the space. Thank you for your visit. Fellow Africans, we are going to put our numbers. Whoever wants the cuttings for Guatemala, you see.
As we had earlier talked about the Guatemala plant, now this has gone through silage. We have seen from the footage before. Now after this, it is poured for the cows to actually feed on, and it's a very nutritious sort of plant, a feed for cows. Ladies and gentlemen, we went and we saw it here, Guatemala. The cows are looking very healthy. And we remember saying that just one root of Guatemala can actually feed around 6 cows. So right now, there's a potential that whatever that is being eaten here, it has just come from one shoot.